Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 2 best bets, the gold, the silver, and bronze. Reminder to everyone out there to smash the like button for the episode. If you missed the winners of the giveaway, tune into Wednesday's Picks Against the Spread show, where we tell you who won. You probably know if you won by now or not, though. If you didn't get a message from me, you didn't win. Spoiler alert. Additionally, sub to Mayo Media Network and play in the DraftKings Listeners League. Rake free. There's still spots remaining. Not many, but there still are spots remaining. All of that is down in the description, so please go play that now. We'll fill it up. We fill it quickly. We make it bigger. More rake free money for everyone. And I mean, we're not all winners because we're playing against each other. But hey, they're not taking all our money at the same time. We get to at least take all of each other's money in one of these contests. Rob Pizzola from thehammer.bet. Cam Stewart from Sports Group. What's going on, fellas? Good week. Week 1.
Yeah, it's always nice to get off to a good start, get those positive Twitter and YouTube comments rather than the negative, you guys stink, and I'm going to go watch something else. So very happy with the first week overall. I think collectively we did a great job.
Cam, yeah, it was good.
I got to be honest with you guys. Like, I'm a little bit beat down with the things that are going on, but this is the way it is. Honestly, like, Pat, I look at the board and I don't even know what I'm doing, but that worked last week. Like, I didn't really, like, you guys kind of said, nah, no, whatever, and we went with it and it worked. So that's the thing about the NFL. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in these games? Pizzola was talking sweats. I always get the sweats. That's why I wear these shirts. But I'm telling you, man, I'm loving life right now. I think we got a great chance to run. Hey, Pat, we entered a team in the Super Contest. We went 5-0, but the problem is good luck doing it again.
Well, good luck doing it again. You were telling us now that you went 5-0. Everyone's picks are locks, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's tough on a team, though. You know, you send them picks and they go, this pick sucks, or you know what I mean? Like, the first week it was kind of cool. We all kind of like agreed on stuff. Now I'm like throwing out stuff and I'm getting a lot of shade. So it's very, very frustrating. I don't know what to do. But then again, when you guys diss my picks, sometimes good things happen.
Yeah.
Do these guys not know your gold record from picks last season? All you got to do is show them last year's picks and say, guys, this is my number one. It's going on the list. And I think it's pretty easy to get it done that way.
No, it's a good call, Pizzola. I really have no confidence, but that's a good thing. This is what we're rolling with every single week. I don't like anything, so let's rock.
So we went, between the three of us, 3-0 on gold picks, swept the board. Silver picks also swept the board, 3-0. 1-2 on the bronze picks. Only Pizzola was able to get Seattle plus 3.5 first half, which was a good one because I think everyone I talked to, Rob, ended up betting that on Monday night when we were chasing money.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, they could have ended up betting Seattle full game and getting it as well. But that was a game where, you know, Seattle came out that first drive. They score the touchdown. You feel really comfortable with the plus 3.5 in your pocket. Obviously, some things had to go right for the Seahawks. You had the 2 goal line fumbles in that game as well. I'm not saying that, you know, Seattle necessarily deserved to win, but you're getting points with a home underdog, 3.5, primetime game, emotional game. I'm not all narrative-y, but historically speaking, that's been a very valuable spot, and we saw it again on Monday night.
Well, let's get into the picks. We might as well go through them in order. Cam, do you want to go bronze picks first?
No, I don't, actually. I know a lot of people on Twitter, and that's the thing. These guys like are not my minions or whatever, Pat. I don't like when they kind of attack you on the show or whatever. You have a system. I just follow it. It's kind of like what I tell people when I do shows. You're the captain of the ship. I'm a passenger, and you know, I like being the passenger. So if you say gold is better from a hit standpoint, let's just do what's best for getting more hits on the show. I couldn't give a rat's ass about, you know, gold, silver, bronze. Whatever works for you is good for me.
Yeah, well, that's good because I was going to stick with gold picks anyway because it's funny. It's funny the people that
See
try.
how easy I am to deal with, Pat.
The best. Absolutely the best. I got into an argument with someone about it. I don't know why I'm arguing with absolute fucking morons on the internet, but either way, they're like, "Hey, here's how you should run your show." It's like, well, do you do dynamic insertion of ads? Do you see the retention times? Like, well, I don't know how any of that works, but this is how I feel it should work. So, Rob, it's a big
retention times. Jeez, that sounds like me on the can. That's awful. I gotta tell you, Pat, ever since I got diabetes, my bowel movements have just been out of control. Poor Rob, you know about that. You have type 1, right? Like, honest to God, like, how's my over-under for taking a 23.5 pisses a day? Like, this is a nightmare. I can't even sleep.
I will say the urination is a problem. I can't go on like long road trips anymore without having to stop at a gas
it's a
station
nightmare.
every hour to take a
Rob,
piss.
I used to drink a case of beer and like crush people. We'd have like who could like take a leak the long. Like I'm winning every time. Now it's unbelievable. I'm like a totally different person. And these meds that they got me on, I'm basically anyway. I don't want to get into like my bowel movements from the other end, but I'm basically loaves of bread. Like it is a nightmare. Like Pat. It's unbelievable. I don't even know how I do these shows sometimes. I'm in constant pain.
Well, if you need to go and relieve yourself throughout the course of the show,
I did a chicken last time. Yeah, no, it's okay. I think we'll get through.
All right, let's start off with the gold picks. Mine is going to be up first. If you watch the spread show, you're probably familiar with what it's going to be. I'm going to make sure that it's still the same number that I had it at a little bit earlier. Now I don't even see it on the board. Great. Do they take this off? Stupid. Oh, no, there it is.
What game?
Dolphins plus 3.5 against the Ravens.
Ooh, yeah.
I want to continue to look at the injury report for this game because I think that's going to be important because I don't know who's playing and who's not for the Ravens at this point because like Ronnie Staley might be back, but they're already losing other offensive linemen. Marcus Peters could be back in this game, but they're still losing secondary members. There's a chance they have like 6 key pieces that just aren't on the field. And then when you look at the Dolphins offensive line, which was not nearly at full strength last week, but still looked pretty good, they might be getting Armstead back. So the injury report is going to tell the story here. And if the Dolphins guys end up coming back on, like we get the announcement on Saturday, and then we get the announcement on Saturday too, if the Ravens guys aren't playing, this line's going to shrink even more. It was 4.5. It's already down to 3.5. Rob, I just feel like the speed of the Dolphins is a really bad matchup for a banged up Ravens team right now. And on the defensive side of the ball, like the front seven was getting a ton of pressure. They were like clogging everything the Patriots wanted to do. Obviously, the Ravens offense is better than the Patriots offense, but it's not like they were world beating and just beating down the Jets in week 1.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I haven't bet this game. Personally, I think it's a Dolphins or nothing game. Part of the reason why is exactly like you mentioned off the top, Pat, kind of waiting on the injury report here. Unless Marcus Peters can play this week, they lost Kyle Fuller with an ACL injury. So that's basically Marlon Humphrey in the secondary to cover Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, very fast receivers. I think that's a big matchup advantage in Miami's favor. Now, I will say, despite winning 20-7 last week, on the surface, Tua's numbers look good. I did rewatch that game. I thought Tua was pretty bad in terms of accuracy. So would like to see something out of him, especially when he's forced to leave the pocket or be on the move a little bit where he can't set his feet. I thought that was a bit of a challenge overall, but with the injuries that the Ravens are dealing with, again, by the way, this season, a lot of people thought that they were going to be a bounce back candidate this year because they had so many injuries last year. Now they're down essentially 2 of their top 3 corners going into the year, their top 2 left tackles as well. I think you can only look at Miami. I mean, I still think Baltimore's a good team when healthy, but overall, not much separating these two teams. And I do think that Miami has a very exploitable matchup with their wide receivers against this Ravens secondary if they don't get Marcus Peters back.
Cam, are you on board with the Dolphins? Or are you a big Ravens supporter
Damn right.
this week?
Love that pick, Pat. It almost made my short list. Like I basically rank them, and I love the Dolphins this week too. I think they can win this game outright. So definitely the 3.5 with the Dolphins. That's the thing. It's not. Rob's right. It wasn't a perfect offensive performance, but defensively, what they did to New England in that game, that could be big time trouble for the Ravens offense, and they're going to exploit these guys big time. I think the Dolphins are a real damn good team, and this is a good test. And what did the Ravens do? They beat the Jets week 1. Big deal. Who cares? Give me the fish plus the points.
All right, Rob, on to you. You have yet to get a pick wrong at least on this show during the season. I'm sure you lost money somewhere on some bet, but on this show, you are perfect. Keep it going. What's the gold pick?
I will be taking the Philadelphia Eagles -2, -110 at home to the Vikings as my gold pick. Monday Night Football, the second game of Monday Night Football this week. I think a little bit of, I don't want to say misleading results last week, but I do think Minnesota ended up having a very good matchup against Green Bay when you consider the fact that Green Bay basically has no receivers. Green Bay down their left tackle and right tackle last week. So the Vikings were able to generate a ton of pressure, especially on the edge against Aaron Rodgers. Didn't really have to worry about anyone in the secondary. You look at the first pass of the game for Green Bay, Christian Watson drops what would have been a 75-yard walk-in touchdown into the end zone. So a little bit misleading there in that the Vikings could have given up more points. Offensively, I liked what Minnesota did, but a lot of what they did was boom or bust. I think if you look at their success rates last week, they were in the lower half of the league. EPA per play was in the higher half of the league because they had some big plays to Justin Jefferson, where Green Bay's zone defense just basically broke down. On the other side of things, the Eagles, obviously we're going to look at the final score again last week, 38-35. What's wrong with the Eagles defense? They let the Lions back into the game. I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum where I look at that, and basically when you strip out garbage time of that game, the Eagles had the 5th highest success rate on offense of any team last week. They held the Lions to 24th of all the teams in the league as well. So tons of garbage time stuff for Detroit. I just think that overall, big upgrade in class in terms of the trenches that the Vikings didn't have last week when they faced Green Bay. When you look at the strength of the Eagles, offensive line, defensive line, very tough football team to match up against. I think they have a huge matchup advantage with their wide receivers, the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Vikings secondary. That was one thing that Green Bay couldn't exploit last week because they don't have any receivers. Alan Lazard didn't play, but now it's a completely different breed for the Vikings defense. Andrew Booth, who's their nickel corner, might not play in this game. That's a problem because Patrick Peterson is still a starting corner for them. So I think the Eagles have lots of matchup advantages across the field. I think 2 is a short price. I'm obviously very high on Philadelphia this year, but I think that this is a bargain. And listen, I'll add it for people out there that believe this is a real thing. I don't necessarily believe it's a real thing, but it is a Kirk Cousins in primetime game, which a lot of people might put some stock into. That's just an added bonus, doesn't figure into my handicap. But for some people who may have forgotten about that, that's just like a little narrative-y bonus.
Rob, who do you think of everyone in the Mayo media universe brought that up as the sole point they're using to pick the Eagles this week?
Oh, I mean, Cust comes to mind right away.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah.
Cam, is that the reason that you're taking the Eagles too?
I love the Eagles. We're on the same page with both of those games. That's what I say. I hate narrowing it down to 3. I love the Eagles, and people are going to look at that Lions game and say it was close. And just the Eagles. Jalen Hurts looks like he's improving a lot more. He's moving his feet. He's throwing. Rob's right. The receivers are great. This is the thing about Minnesota. They caught Green Bay at a really good time. Green Bay, Rodgers is already ripping his receivers. I got a lot of issues with Aaron Rodgers personally. It's like, dude, these guys are kids. Like, stop ripping them down, building up, ripping them down. They got enough problems as it is. And Green Bay is just one of those teams I think will get better as the season progresses. As for Minnesota, totally different beast at home and on the road. I'm with Rob. I like the Eagles by 10 in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm not going to probably end up betting this game. The 2 Monday night games had me kind of shook from like where the price is. I actually picked the Eagles. I think the Eagles do win, but I don't think it's going to end up making my top 3. But I'm with you on that. See, we're very supportive of one another so far. Everyone likes my Dolphins pick. Everyone likes your Eagles pick. Now, Rob, it's time for you and I to shit on Cam's gold pick, which will inevitably hit again.
Exactly.
Okay. Can I throw a couple at you and tell you how you? Okay, this is a game I like to play.
Okay, well let me ask you, Cam. Right now, yep. I'm looking. The dealer got the Jack of Spades. I got 16. Hit me with them right now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. Against the face, you got to hit 16. I like the Dallas Cowboys. Am I crazy?
I like them too.
Rob, come on, man.
I don't like the Cowboys. I wouldn't bet the Cowboys with my worst enemy's money this week. I understand that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be like a very square play this week where everybody's going to play Cincinnati. And I know, Cam, that you like to go contrarian, but no, I don't want to go.
Okay, I got another one for you. Carolina.
Yes.
I like Carolina.
Let's do it. Cats. I love a lot of cats this week. That's going to be the theme. I'm a dog man, but I'm a cat man. Pizzola's a turtle man. I love your turtle, by the way, Pizzola. Like, I love turtles.
I mean, it's a tortoise. It's a tortoise. Very different.
It's a tortoise. It's a tortoise.
Very
different.
Tortoise. Yeah.
You're right. Turtles can like bite your leg off. Tortoises are more chill. When you go down to the river to collect golf balls, snapping turtles, don't deal with them. Eels, they'll suck onto your leg. Then you got a big hole out of it. It's a problem. I used to chill out in the Credit River. Probably not a smart move. I'm surprised I don't have more diseases. That place is really dirty. Let's roll. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. Everybody on every show basically told me not to do this, so I am going to do it. It's a perfect theme. You guys last week said don't do Texans and stuff. Give me Carolina. They played in that game against Cleveland. Cleveland needs a big, long field goal to win. Baker Mayfield. Oh, the Giants. Oh, we're feeling good. We went for a 2-point conversion and won. Who cares? Carolina actually asking the Giants to back it up with another performance like that, I think is insane. How many points am I getting? Am I getting 2.5, 3?
You're getting 2. You're getting 2 at DraftKings Sportsbook, pal.
Ew. Not even 2.5? Who cares?
Who cares?
You know,
when you win outright, you don't even need the points, right?
Give me the give me the cat. I want Carolina. Everyone thinks this pick sucks, so I should be liking it even more. And you guys aren't in the super contest with me, so give me Carolina, Pat. Let's go.
So when you say everyone hates this pick, you mean like the 2 guys on your super contest team hate this pick? Because Rob and I love it.
It's the guys in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, no, these guys are my friends, but the problem is we got a couple Giants fans in there too, so it's kind of like it's tough. You don't want to ruffle feathers. We had a great week last week, but I'm telling you, that doesn't matter. This is a separate show. Give me the damn Cats. Give me the Panthers plus the 2. Let's go.
It's funny, Rob. The Giants have one play. Give it to Barkley, and they try to do that as many times as possible. It's not a bad strategy, as we saw last week. I don't know if that can be sustainable going forward, but it was very effective week 1.
Yeah, so I think that's what a lot of people are going to use to make their case for the Giants this week. They're going to say, well, Cleveland ran the ball all over Carolina. Well, Cleveland actually has a real offensive line. The Giants don't. So there's a big difference there. The second thing is, like, as that game went on, Carolina did really limit the Cleveland offense. They kind of figured it out. At the end of the day, you know, Daniel Jones, to me, a lot of people take a lot of positives away from the Giants beating the Titans. For me, that first half, I mean, it was 13-0 Titans at the half. That could have easily been like 28-0. They just couldn't punch it in when they moved down the field. So bad red zone offense for the Titans. But a lot of the things that the Giants did well last week was just personnel matchups. Like, you know, even Tennessee was able to get after the quarterback quite heavily last week. They lost their top pass rusher in the torn ACL in preseason. And I mean, Daniel Jones did what Daniel Jones does. He turned the ball over twice. He took a blindside hit where he didn't feel any pressure whatsoever. He fumbled. He threw the ball, an interception in the red zone. This is consistently going to be the case with him going forward. So I don't know. I think this is like, you know, what happens if Cleveland misses that 58-yard field goal and the Giants miss that 2-point conversion? I think the Panthers are probably favored in New York this week. So you get a couple coin flips that just go the way of the Giants and opposite to the Panthers. And now all of a sudden we got a line where the Giants are favored and everyone's like, oh, the Giants are a sleeper. Brian Daboll, love Brian Daboll. He's got the balls to go for it. And, you know, no, I mean, like this game, you could easily make an argument the Panthers should be favored here.
I think you nailed it, and why I gravitated towards the Panthers. And I think that's what you're seeing too, Cam, is that if those two things just end a little bit differently at the end, and New York is always going to get that extra push because Giants, I would guess, versus the Panthers, a pretty public team. And the Giants were the most publicly backed underdog a week ago, and they won outright. So Giants must be a whole lot better than we thought. I mean, the Giants most definitely win this game. Carolina's not very good. But I do think that if they get stuffed going for the 2-point conversion, still cover but lose to Tennessee, and that field goal misses, I'm with Rob. I think the Panthers are favored by a point and a half here.
No, I love the Panthers in this spot, and that's the thing. And I know one thing. Giants fans are real happy last week. We'll see. Say this game continues, and the longer the game goes, if Carolina's beating them down and stuff, don't worry. The New York fans will turn on the Giants again. So I think it's just one of these points where Carolina, I agree with Pizzola big time. I think I would have made the line Carolina 1 instead of them +2. I think it's off. Give me Carolina.
How pumped are Giants fans, Pizzola? Because I saw even George R.R. Martin wrote he normally does Jets blogs, but he was like pumped for the Giants and how good they looked week 1.
Yeah, someone should tell him to finish the Game of Thrones books and ease up on the football before he dies. I mean, that's like what everybody is waiting for. Is
Game of Thrones has books? I thought it was just on TV.
No, it's based off of a series of books. And George R.R. Martin has not yet finished the series, despite having been writing the same book for like a decade now. And it's obviously not going to get finished. It'll be
not from the same author of the Harry Potter series.
No, that's J.K. Rowling.
I know it's J.K. Rowling. I know. Honest to God, I really didn't know. Like, I know J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit, and all the other stuff. I don't know who the hell wrote Game of Thrones. I thought it was just something they put together on television. It's actually based on a novel. Interesting.
Yeah,
didn't know.
And the guy's a Jet super fan.
So the guy who likes Game of Thrones is a New York Jets super fan?
Yes.
The guy who created,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
yeah.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I guess I should know that, but I don't.
When your world is so sad in real life, you have to go create a completely different universe. That's what happens to Jets fans. It's a really sad scene.
No offense, Pat. And I like medieval shit. I like jousting and stuff, but fucking dragons and castles and all the other shit they got going on there. It's just one of those things. I'm not people love this stuff. It's not my bag. I'm just not really I don't know. I watched it a little bit. I didn't get into it. Maybe I should have gave it more. But Pat, I'm more Sopranos. Me and you, we both love Twin Peaks. That's a legendary series. Game of Thrones to me can fuck off. I'm not really into it. So, but I can. People love it. I'm just not that guy, right?
So
To each their own.
Game of Thrones isn't going to be your silver pick of the week, Cam?
No, definitely not.
House
Definitely
of the Dragon,
not.
silver.
Maybe I should give it a chance, Pat. That's the thing. There's a lot of people I respect that like it. So I'm just pretty bad though. If I don't get into something kind of early, when I watch The Sopranos, I go, that's it. You watch The Wire, you go, sure we can. It's just one of those things. I maybe I wasn't in the mood. I think I saw it after an NFL Sunday, and I was in I was probably raging. So I don't know. We'll give it another chance, I guess. I love chicks from medieval times, and I like did they have hosiery back then, Rob? Corsets. I like corsets on a woman. I like a nice corset. I think it's a great look, but dragons and all the other shit going on, chainmail, whatever, man. I pass.
With your corset obsession, do you head on down to medieval times very often?
I've been to medieval times twice. There's a lot of things I like about it. I love eating with my hands like that. I like, the wenches, they serve you up wine in big goblets, Pat. I'm into that stuff. I actually had a good time at medieval times. I think it's overpriced for what you get for the tournament. And but other than that, if you want a big piece of meat and some wine and, yell at people for an afternoon, sure. I have no problem with medieval times. I like corsets. I don't know what it is with me. I've always been a fan of lingerie, corsets, all that type of thing. Kind of old school in my pre-sex wear, I guess, if you could say. I'm a big legging guy, that's what I like. I like the fall season, get it on, garters and legs, let's go.
Hey, you gotta
big fan.
Gotta like what you like, Rob. We are doing the Drive to Survivor over on the Hammer.bet. If people want to see more of Cam, myself, and Rob, we'll have another video at the Hammer.bet. Myself, Feinberg, and Cust also have an alternate show up there exclusive to the Hammer. Do you want to tell people about what happened in the video that I sent you after our spread pick show for the Hammer?
I almost died of laughter actually watching that. Cust went on for 2 minutes about how a pick was so great and the odds were absurd, and he was completely looking at the wrong market. He thought he was looking at the NFL MVP market, and he was actually looking at most passing yards for quarterbacks. And oh my God, man, that was just really, really memorable. Pat, you cracked me up when he was talking about how Derek Carr has better MVP odds than Josh Allen. And you kind of brought up, are you looking at Josh Allen from the Bills or from the Jaguars? And then he quickly realized he was looking at the wrong market. Absolutely hysterical, true Cust move. I did like, though, the best part about it is how he then talked himself into it still being a good play, which is what I really appreciate about him. He just went all in on, I got the wrong odds, but it's not 30-1, it's 12-1, but I still love this play, which I
love the way he makes Geoff go nuts too. When he basically he's talking about Mike Williams. I see Geoff mad, Pat, and you've seen it. When he starts to shake and he's in his chair and he starts to that's the thing. He gets fired up, man. He was losing his mind. Mike Williams is not Jerry Rice. Tim, you know what I mean? It's just he was getting. I know these guys get along in real life, but Tim really he can grind his gears pretty hard.
I think you can really tell when Jeff is starting to stew. It's the best because Jeff doesn't really look at the camera the whole time. Obviously, a lot of people who watch know this. He'll be looking down and around, but you can see when he's internalizing something. You can see it in his face, and you can see him quickly look up, as if you can feel the brew happening, and he's about to unload.
Yeah, he's a cauldron.
Yes, he really is a cauldron. Jeff is a cauldron. Good comparison, Cam.
Thank you. Well, hot cauldron, not a cauldron just sitting there. One that's
boiling. He's boiling.
Got soup. Yeah.
Boiling,
and it's boiling hot. Yeah, lava.
Yes.
Silver picks for week 2. Rob, you're 1-0. Actually, we're all 1-0 on our silver pick. So let's go to you. Where are you looking?
I am going to take the New England Patriots -2, -110.
Yes, I love it. I actually got left in that one too. I love New England this week.
Listen, this is I think the Patriots are not great. This is more of a fate of the Steelers. So when you go +5 in turnover margin in a week, and you need to block an extra point to go to overtime, and then you need a kicker to miss a 29-yard field goal to win the game, I think you inherently have some major problems with your team. It's very clear to me the Steelers' offensive line is still terrible. They do all these moving pocket things for Mitch Trubisky. That ain't working out. The Steelers' offense stunk last week. If you look at where the Bengals were turning it over, the Bengals are moving the ball. 4 of their 5 turnovers came on the Steelers' side of the field. They really basically could have just ran the ball, thrown on 3rd down, and they would have won that game rather easily. I don't think Pittsburgh's offering up much resistance to anybody this year, especially now with TJ Watt being injured. That is a massive blow to their defense, losing a pass rusher who had 22.5 sacks last year. If we break down the Patriots and Dolphins, 20-7, they get blown out. They really weren't in the game. What I will say about the Patriots is they drove the ball into the Dolphins side of the field on all but one possession in that game. And then they had some self-inflicted mistakes, but also Miami's a pretty good football team. Now, not having to worry about TJ Watt, I think that's a massive difference in this game that allows New England to get a little bit
Harris
back on
is banged
track.
up too on the offensive side, right, Rob? That's
Yes.
big too.
I mean, I didn't like the Steelers going into the year. To me, like a lot of people will take a lot of positives out of the result. They win, obviously, as a touchdown underdog. People are going to look at that and be like, oh yeah, Steelers, then maybe they can compete in the AFC North. To me, I think they're even worse than I thought they were after watching that game, just because of the fact that they were able to force so many turnovers and still needed a kind of almost a borderline miracle to pull that game out. So I made New England -3. I think the Patriots are a play here. Concerned about Mac Jones's back, but he's practicing in a limited capacity. Looks like that's going to be a go-ahead for them. So give me New England as my silver.
I don't like it. I just don't like this game. I think Pittsburgh's going to win these stupid games all year long. I really do. Like, they're going to look like absolute dog shit like they did against Cincinnati. And then all of a sudden, like, in this game, what's going to happen is they'll be, like, tied, and for whatever reason, like, the missed extra point will actually be a good extra point, and they'll lose by 1 and cover the spread. The Patriots looked awful. Like, they were able to move the ball a little bit, but, I mean, it's great that you can get on the Dolphins side of the field if they did it every single time. Why didn't they score any points, Rob?
Well, so part of it is they are still getting used to the zone blocking on the offensive line. Like, the reality is the Dolphins only scored 13 points on the Patriots. I mean, they had a fumble 6 for a touchdown. So if we look on that from that perspective, the Patriots defense, which everyone was saying was going to take a huge step back this year, they held the Dolphins to 13 points. That's way more offensive weaponry than the Steelers are bringing to the table. Maybe not at wide receiver. Steelers have a good group of receivers, but I have no faith in Mitch Trubisky at this point after watching him through 1 week. I mean, maybe an upgrade over the corpse of Big Ben from last year, but regardless, I still think that's just an offense that's going to have real trouble. So, yeah, I mean, for we could talk about how the Patriots are poor offensively. They were probably a lot better defensively than people give them credit for as well.
I just don't think, Cam, that the Steelers' defense is just totally shot now that Watt's not there. I still think their defense is still really good, and it's probably the best unit of any of these units in this game.
It's very good, Pat. Sometimes, with me, I look at the lines. I'm like, wow, the Patriots are like laying a couple points in this spot. I think it's just an attraction. A lot of people are going to jump all over the Steelers because they beat the Bengals. The Bengals had some serious issues in that game. To Rob's point, I think that loss to Miami with New England, there's a lot of bad things happen in that game. Like, not just one, but many. And this is a great bounce back spot. People are like, oh, I see online, New England, rebuilding year, and press the reset button. Frig, what? Fuck, 1 week into the season. Relax. They can go on the road and get a win here, and anything's possible. I think it's just a really good spot for the Patriots. I think they win this game by like a touchdown, and, all they have to do is win by 2. So what is it, 1.5, 2, 2.5, whatever.
Win
by
2 right now,
goal.
but
yeah. And
Still,
we cover.
Yeah.
So New England -2 for you. Oh, did you see the breaking news as we're recording this? Roger Federer is retiring. His next event is last week. Or his last event is next week.
Oh, I was gonna say that would be very weird for him to like not announce get the farewell tour, but that's I mean I'm not as big a tennis fan as I once was, but Federer what to me is like
Class.
I don't know, he's just class. Exactly, he's like the athlete that I think of where it's like that guy, that dude, like who does not like Roger Federer? I need to find the people that don't like Roger Federer. Those people are not friends of mine.
I would guess that the only people that don't like Roger Federer are people who like tennis and are also left-handed because they all love Nadal.
Yeah.
I'm left-handed and I like Federer.
You're
I
left-handed.
think Federer's well, actually ambidextrous. So my mom made me, like when I was a kid, being a lefty was like a weird thing, kind of like being a witch kid, like, you know what I mean? So I do everything with both hands. Like I golf with my left pad, I write with my right. I actually throw. In baseball, I catch better with my left, but I throw better with my left. So as a kid, I used to get the glove, throw it down, and like have a way stronger left than right. Like I'm all over the place, but I play hockey left, golf left, but everything else is right. So I'm kind of like ambidextrous. I can serve with both hands in tennis. Like, anyway, I'm not saying I'm like, ooh, look at Cam, he's good at stuff. No, I just like I can do it with both hands all day. Yeah.
You took Carolina as your gold pick. Where are you going for your silver pick?
Well, Rob's gonna. I know what I'm gonna. Rob, I'm gonna slip the Patriots into my bronze hole. I don't like, because I want us just to keep on winning and stuff. That was literally like I had them ranked like this. I have a question for you guys. Which cat do we like better this week? Do you like a jaguar or do you like a lion? Because it's between those two.
I think this comes down to: do you have a discernible sound effect difference between a jag and a lion? Or are they
all
the
the
same?
same. Like a lion should be like more deeper, but I don't. My eagle is my Seahawk is my falcon. And I wish I could really work on it. I just don't. I just make sounds. But I'm telling you, I really, the Lions game is starting to scare me. I liked it all week. What do you guys think about the Jaguars? I think they're getting better all the time. I think in Indianapolis, they don't beat these guys, but that line at 4.5 is kind of scaring me. I thought it would go down, but what's your opinion? And then I'll take it from there, both of you, and then let me reassess.
Rob, I blindly picked the Jags on the spread show because I don't think the line makes any sense. I don't understand why it's +4. I don't know who's betting the +4. So I was like, good enough for me. I'll just blindly take Jacksonville in this spot, but I have no reason to.
So what I will say about that is I don't mind the Jags, by the way. I don't really have an opinion on the Jags-Colts game whatsoever, but don't mind the Jags. The only thing is just from like a pure line value perspective, when you think of the final week of the season last year, Jags knocked the Colts out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That line was 14 points in the final week of the season going into Jacksonville. It was close to 2 touchdowns. It's now 3.5 at DraftKings right now, 3.5 at DraftKings. So we've seen an adjustment of basically 10 points in 2 games. I'm not saying the Jags aren't better. It's possible the Colts are worse. Shaquille Leonard might not play again, but it's a pretty large adjustment. And I don't know, from what I saw of the Jags last week, I was rather unimpressed again. I that's not to say they can't improve. It's only a 1-game sample, but that's sort of like the argument for just from a line value perspective. With that said, I have no problem with it. I mean, the Jags have given the Colts trouble for a long time now. The Colts, while I think they're a very good team, I mean, 500, the only team with 500 yards of total offense last week, they find a way for like these self-inflicted errors. Matt Ryan fumbles a snap. He throws an interception on a screenplay. They fumble the ball here. Like, I don't know what it is with this team that whether it's Rivers or Wentz or Ryan, they can't get out of their own way for some reason or another. So I don't mind Jacksonville. It's not my preference, but I like if I had to pick of those two, I would pick Jacksonville.
Really? You don't like the Lions?
Well, we might save that for the bronze pick.
Okay.
Ooh,
so
foreshadowing.
So you're going Jacksonville plus, what was it?
Yes.
Let's see. I'll give you the real time number.
Isn't it 4? I see 4.5 on my book.
It was 3.5 as of 35 minutes ago. It's back up to 4 at the moment. So Cam,
give me a 4.
I'll give you the 4. It's fine.
Yeah. See, yeah. Pat, I love it. You always I love negotiating, but I'm actually seeing on 2 books at 4.5.
Yeah, those books don't sound like the only place people should wager on sports. DraftKingsSportsbook.com.
Okay, fair. Yeah, sorry. Jeez, I ripped Flex Seal, and I'm talking about other sponsors too. Okay, Cameron, just focus. The other one was going to be Dallas, and you guys, I know what you're going to do. You're going to basically just shit all over Dallas against the Bengals.
I will, but I'm still first of all, we've done this before. We've been through this rodeo now for a long time.
We have.
Most of the time when we shit on the pick, it ends up winning. Pat, I think, agrees with Dallas. So it looks like I'm on the lonely island where I disagree. But I would be curious to hear that one because I don't think Dallas is going to score. Like, okay. I don't know how Dallas
I'll tell you why. Because Cooper Rush from Central Michigan, the Chippewa, is barely a downgrade from Dak Prescott.
Oh, come on.
I know they have problems. Yeah, no, not come on now. This isn't some cuss take. It's a reality take. I watched this guy in college. He is not Ben DiNucci's Pizza and Panzeratos. He's fine. He can manage the offense and get it done and put points on the board. The defense, they'll get the Burrow. This appendectomy thing, Cincinnati looked sloppy last week. Another thing, I worry about the offensive line, but Cincinnati's got major offensive line problems. They can knock Burrow around. They're a home team. Home team getting 7.5 points in this spot. It's a lot. That's the thing. Like, I'm torn between the Jaguars and the Cowboys, and people are kind of laughing at me with the Cowboys, but I think they cover this week.
Yeah, I it's almost like the Jacksonville situation for me. Like it was 8, it's down to 7 now. The Bengals are favored on the road in Dallas. This game reeks of like 16-10 written all over it for me. Like everyone talked about the Bengals. They upgraded their offensive line. Rob, it looked like dog shit week 1.
Yep, it looked poor. And they're facing a similar style pass rush with a lot of edge rush coming from the outside. I get it. But like they don't have to be the Bengals that score 42 points. Like look at what the Bucs did last week, right? The Bucs offensive line is quite poor right now. And they lost Donovan Smith, their left tackle, mid-game against Dallas last week as well. They still moved up and down the field. They just bogged down in the red zone. That's why they scored 19 points, is bogging down in the red zone the whole game. So for me, I mean, the argument I've seen made for Dallas a lot this week is that if you look at the look-ahead line for this game, Dallas was favored, -1.5 or -2.5 points. And now there's been this huge adjustment where they're this big of an underdog. It's not only Dak Prescott missing. Dallas loses another offensive lineman in Connor McGovern. They lose a starting safety in Javon Curse. They, to me, are like, they have no wide receivers. They have CeeDee Lamb and quite literally nobody. Michael Gallup is practicing, probably not going to play this week either. So I don't know. I think that you need an elite defensive performance from the Cowboys or some sort of, special teams blocked punt for a touch. Like you need some crazy stuff to happen. I'm not saying that it can't nowadays, but I'll probably bet alternate spreads on the Bengals in this game. I'll be honest. Maybe I'm a jaded Cowboys fan, but I think they're going to get absolutely shredded, torn, 38-10.
Yeah, Cam, I don't think it's
Pizzola, when you guys do this, but you know what? I'm sticking with the Jerry Jaguar. Give me the Jaguars if you guys are giving me 4. They're at home. They play the Colts so tough. You're right, Rob, about the line movement. The thing is, I expect big things, and the thing is, Matt Ryan, not too mobile. I know the Colts have a good offensive line, but the Jags' young defense, they can get at it. Carson Wentz was in orbit at the end of that game. They just started off good, and maybe they could do the same type of thing to Matt Ryan. Give me the damn Jaguars +4, Pat. That's my decision. If the Cowboys cover and the Jags don't, then we know moving forward, the more you guys shit it or Rob shits on it, then I go back to it. But anyway, we're taking the Jags. Let's roll.
Okay, so I have a bank.
Yeah, Panthers and Jags.
I have a bank of 4 games for my silver pick and bronze picks, and I have to cut 2 of them out. Pat. Rob, how do you feel about the Bucs? Because I feel like everyone just wants to be like, well, New Orleans, they play the Bucs so tough. New Orleans, very good. Maybe New Orleans isn't very good at all, and the Bucs played their C- game and still beat the crap out of Dallas.
I'm not in love with the Bucs.
I like the Saints, Pat, but
of course, everyone loves the Saints.
That's the problem. I know. That's why I didn't make it in the show. Initially, Lions and Saints were my games that I circled earlier on in the week, and now I'm scared about both of them. And then my mind came to the games that I had because those ones were clear. I'm telling you, I agree with you. I think the Saints might win this game, but Tampa Bay is going to have some tricks up their sleeve. It's not going to be as easy this time.
All right, so I'll run this one. You guys don't like that one. How about the Jets +6.5?
Love it, Pat. Love it. Everyone's going to take Cleveland. How come that line hasn't gone to 7? Ooh, Cleveland Brown. They can run the ball and stuff. I know Flacco's a statue, but that line tells me something. I smell bad decaying sewage and fish. It's just that. We're going to the junk heap. I'm telling you, Pat, nobody's going to take the Jets other than you and Cuss. Give me the Jets plus the points. I'm with you. Let's go.
Cuss, strongest bet this week, Rob, is Browns -6.5.
Oh, good. Jets. Jets 5-star.
Honestly,
Let's go.
Needing Jacoby Brissett to win by 7 seems like a really bad bet, no matter who they play.
I agree.
Yes.
He's just so limited offensively. Like, I downgrade the Browns a lot. The Browns should have killed Carolina last week. If we're like they were dominant at both lines of scrimmage, but Brissett is just way too limited. Like, and it seems like they're content with that. They don't want him to make a mistake like Baker did last year. Just keep us in the game. If you have to check down, do that, whatever. But that's not conducive to covering 7-point spreads. Now, obviously, the Jets are terrible. I mean, but you know, the game starts 0-0. A game starts with the Jets covering. So I think it's New York or nothing. I'm not going to bet it, but I cannot argue with New York.
Yeah, your others.
I think I got the confidence that I needed here. Rob kind of pointed out, and Cam, you kind of piled on to what I like about this game. Is Jacoby Brissett really going to cover a 6.5 point, beat people by a touchdown? Like, watching the Jets a ton last week, like, they actually played pretty well defensively. And I'm fairly certain if Flacco is as bad as he was last week, we're getting Mike White at some point. I don't know if that's good or bad, but probably good enough to cover the 6.5.
Know what it is, Pat? It's good, like, for in those type of circumstances. Here's the deal with Magic Mike. He comes in when everyone knows the whole game, but if he comes in after Flacco struggles, boo, boo, oh, get this idiot out of here. And then White's one of those guys. You saw what he did against the Bengals when he came in short spurts. It could be a good thing. I like the Jets.
It's a shame we wouldn't be getting Chris Strevler, though,
I like Strevler. Are we having this discussion again?
Or yeah, he could start on 3/4 of the teams in the NFL, right, Cam?
I didn't say that.
Well, he probably could now.
Don't pull a cuss when he's getting ye off all lava and cauldrons that are.
I like Chris Strevler.
Listen, Chris Strevler is a competent. He's a great third-string quarterback, and I'll tell you one thing: he would come in and at least grind for these guys. I think he's better than White. Can we agree with that?
No. I'll tell you this: when Dak Prescott went down last week, when Dak got hurt, I was like, the Cowboys should bring in Chris Strevler. But now that Cooper Rush is only like barely a downgrade, I guess it makes sense that they're going to go with Cooper Rush.
Here we go. Low blows again. Hey, Pizzola, you think I haven't had enough coffee yet? Don't worry, pal. I got my beans full. Strevler is better. You know what? He's better than Ben DiNucci, and we'll see how Cooper Rush plays. Strevler is, you know what? He could be a second-string quarterback at the middle to bottom tier, one of the best third-stringers in the NFL. I'll leave it at that.
Well, do you think that Strevler is a lot better now that he's on an NFL practice squad rather than being in the CFL because he was able to give up his part-time job at Pizza Town while also playing professional football?
Patrick, I love you as a human being, but the way you're ripping the Canadian Football League, it hurts too. It really does. These guys are not mailmen on the side. He's not a short order cook at Boston Pizza. He's a fucking football player. Some of these guys make like $300,000, $400,000 a year. It's not like the poverty league that everybody thinks. The Canadian Football League is a fine league. It's great. Accepted for both CFL, NFL. It's like two women. You could love them both. I like her for this reason. I like her for this reason.
Well, he's a quarterback, so he was getting paid. It's not like he was some sort of like defensive lineman where he had to work 4 jobs.
Tell you one thing, he's better than fucking Bethel Thompson by a million times. Give me a break.
Thompson. There's a throwback name.
Well, no, he's not. He's starting for the Argos.
Yeah.
He makes one good play and then he makes 7 bad ones. But anyway, Strevler's fine. How did this even start? Yes. Like, you know what? Actually, I would love to see. Oh, no, he can't even come in the game. He's not there. He's on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Imagine Flacco sucked and White got hurt and Strevler came in and the Jets won outright. Then you guys would be singing a different tune.
I think I love Strevler when he's facing other backups. I think like
he's great in the preseason. Yes.
He is the guy legitimately when he comes in the preseason, you go live bet that team.
Yes.
Because he's better than like all the third stringers. He's not a third stringer. So when he comes in and faces third stringers, he's going to shred those defenses. He did that, but like, we can cut it down on like the starting quarterback material.
Pat, I love you like a brother, but your disdain for the CFL hurts my feelings sometimes. You just accept the league for what it is. It's free-down football.
Listen, I don't live in Western Canada in the middle of nowhere. Why would I like the CFL?
I live in fucking Ontario and I love the CFL. Like, it's fine. It's a great product. Actually, I don't even know why I'm giving these guys pub. All they do is shit. Like, I shouldn't even give them free advertising. Never done nothing for me. I just enjoy football in general. Maybe that's what it is. CFL, college, NFL. I love it all, buddy. Love it all.
I mean, I don't like college football either, so it's not like it's anything that's not the NFL. Like,
you don't like college football?
No. I have things to do on
Really?
Saturdays, Cam. I
Yes, I do too.
People
betting
said
on college football.
I have people who send me bets. I make the bets. I get paid on the bets. I don't even need to watch second of it. It's great. But
Pat, you got a family and children. I have like a fucking sink that has holes in it because of Flex Seal. Smells like ass. I got a toilet that just keeps on humming all the time. Like, yeah, my place is an absolute pigsty. It's a dump. I get it. I need new carpeting. Hainzer thinks he could. I'll come over, buddy. You get some new car. No. I don't know if I can hire this guy as a handyman. I love him, but it's like, geez, like, you know what I'm saying, Pizzola? Like, this place is just. Sometimes I wish I had a family so I could actually do the things I talk about getting done. But no, Pat, I host a college football show on Saturday, so. Yeah, that's what I do. I watch football on the weekends.
Well, you're working. You're covering college football. I don't cover. It's like when I used to cover baseball. I used to watch baseball all the time. I don't think I've watched 1 second of baseball in like the past 6 years. Just
you don't like baseball?
Just out.
Not at all.
No, not anymore. Done with it. I covered it full time for 10 years. I'm out. That's enough.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I know your friend and a good friend of ours, Gary and Thorne. Very big baseball guy. Very smart mind. What else am I going to say? No, that's about it. You got shit to do. I get it. You have a family, but I don't.
And there's also, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, Rob, because I know that people love, and betting on things is different than like being a huge fan and watching them. I didn't go to any college in the States, so I have no affiliation to this. To me, it's like kids playing low rate from the pros.
There's some good players.
There's awesome players, but the majority of players aren't good.
I'm not the guy who's glued to my TV from 12 noon to midnight and then watching the Hawaii game late at night as well. Like, I treat college much differently than I do an NFL Sunday. Like, an NFL Sunday, I don't miss from 1 o'clock all the way through to Sunday Night Football. College, if there's a big game, I'll catch some here and there. If I'm home in the afternoon, sure, I'm going to throw up some college football on TV. I'll watch some games. But I have so many bets. One of the problems is I have so many bets on a college football Saturday. Like, I'm literally cheering for 30 things. Then I have a bunch of second half plays on top of that. I don't have it it's not in my capacity to be able to follow all these things at once. I will actually go crazy if I do, nor do I care about watching, Central Michigan against I don't want to shit on the MAC or anything like that. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not like, it's entertaining football, but it's not the same for me as the NFL. Like, I just prefer the NFL.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I know it's fine. You're right though. There's a lot of games on Saturday. It's like it's really tough to get a hold of everything. But I love it, Pat. That's the thing. No, so everything's cool. We're not having this college, CFL, whatever. Football rocks. I don't know what else to say other than I fucking love betting. I love college football on Saturdays too. But I also don't have children. Like, no one. I'm going to be honest with you, Pat. I would like to take my kid to his T-ball game or whatever, but I don't, so I'm betting on college football. Like, if I had a family, I wouldn't watch the amount of college football I do.
No, hold on. You can come take my kids to their soccer practices. I thought it would be great. Like, you take them once, it's like, oh my God, I have to fucking stand here for an hour. Or they're like eating
you're being pretty
dandelions.
The kids. That's the thing. They're picking flowers. What do you do? You're not going to put them through the cone drills yet. Don't worry. They'll figure it out. I remember when I played hockey, our coach used to like hit us with sticks in the nuts and like shoot pucks at us and stuff like that. It's a different world for the children. It's participation time. They have fun.
Yeah. Pat, do any of the other parents come up to you and tell you that they watch the shows and talk about like all the weekly content?
Yes.
That would probably make me miserable.
It's awful.
That's kind of the thing. You can't even escape to like a nice pasture watching a game. You got, hey,
Pat, how about that cuss?
Hey,
oh
Pat,
my God.
I got one. Did you run the Sims? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the thing. You're just sitting there, just want to have a smoke and a coffee. Trust me, I get that at hey, Pizzola, how's this one? Hey, there are you and Gabe and Pizzola. Hey, remember the score? Like, if I had a time, everybody said that to me. Like, I'm in the grocery store just trying to get some meats, and I'm just like, he goes, where are you now? It's like, if you liked a band or a show, wouldn't you like just kind of like do the minimal research to find out where they are now? Anyway, I don't get any of this shit, but whatever. It's all good, Pat. I hope your kids enjoy soccer. It's good that they're getting outside and not playing video games.
Oh, yeah.
You're much more recognizable than I am, so I'm sure you get it a lot. But for me,
I like it most of the time. People are generally nice. I just don't like the where the hell are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the basic
what
stuff,
happened to you? What happened to you guys?
Like it's like nothing fucking happened. We look at different places.
But yeah, I get the same. Like the two spots that I get it every time. No matter where if I go to these two spots, someone's gonna recognize me. Is Woodbine Racetrack? Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, hey, say hi to Cam and Gabe, or Fallsview Casino. Whenever I'm there, I get, oh, hey, I met Cam here. I met Cam there, or whatever. Say hi to Cam. I'm like, yeah, I do, a show with Cam still. They're like, oh, you do? Like, where? I'm like, buddy, like, nobody owns cable anymore. Stop just watching TV. Like, start consuming some content on the internet. So hopefully maybe I've turned some people over to this show. But yes, that always bothers me as well. It's like, oh, what happened to you? What happened to that? It's like everybody's doing stuff. You can just use Google.
I know. I love people, but the where are you now shit, or you're not. Like it's just after a while, I'm just like. Usually happens in the beer store when I'm rattled too. Like it's just one of those things. I just like I'm already peeking about the price of steam whistle. It's like $56 for a 2-4. Fuck man, I got to tell you something, Pat and Rob too. Another thing, like I love Canada. But can't we just get convenience stores with like beer in it? It's a very simple concept. Like in the States, like you don't even have to have the alcohol, the wine and the whatever, but beers should be, it's not even drinking. Beers should be in convenience stores. Let's make it work. If I was an ever elected official, that's one of the first thing I would do.
Well, that's a Ontario thing. You can do that in Quebec and you can do it in New Brunswick too.
What about, so you're telling me Halifax, you can walk into a 7-Eleven and get beer?
No, that's not New Brunswick. That's not New Brunswick.
No, Halifax is Nova Scotia. I know Canada, been to every province and territory. Let's not go there. So, but just why New Brunswick and why not Newfoundland or anywhere else? Like, what's the deal here?
I'm guessing it has something to do with French. That's all I can wrap my mind around.
Yeah, like French, like their beer, they're like Molson Canadian, like Laurentide.
No, just like Quebec, French province, and then the second most French province is New Brunswick, and they're the two who have it.
Yeah.
I bet you if a politician campaigned on the platform that I will get beer in convenience stores, they would actually see a big uplift from that.
You're damn
I'm
right.
not exaggerating.
Even with my background and the things that I do, I could tell you we'd get a chunk of the vote, Pizzola. Well, look at Rob Ford. Oh, I'm going to do buck of beer. Yeah, you didn't realize it tasted like fucking cyanide with no logo on it, but that's okay. And it's also not a buck of beer. That was a straight up fucking lie. That beer sucks. No name beer. You think I'm fucking dumb? Come on, man.
Well, we need to get you to be able to afford your like overpriced steam whistle. So it's some bronze picks. You're taking New England -2?
Yeah, sorry, Pat. I know it's usually we have a big spiel, but we had a nice talk there or whatever.
I
don't want to ride Pizzola's tails, and I don't want to change my picks because other people are giving me pressure. I love New England this week. I think they go into Pittsburgh and get the job done. I agree with everything Pizzola said. I think Mac Jones will be fine in this game. New England didn't punch it in against Miami. They have a good D. I think the losses of Watt, Harris being banged up, I think it's a big deal. And the line kind of tells you something. Pittsburgh's not the favorite here. I think we're going to see a lot of Pittsburgh money. I think New England goes in there and gets it done, wins by a touchdown.
Rob, bronze pick.
Yeah, so I alluded to it earlier, but I'm going to take the Washington Commanders +1.5 at Detroit. Now, I will preface this by saying, obviously, we're doing this show on Thursday. That, we haven't seen the Thursday practices yet. We haven't seen the Friday practices yet. But as of Wednesday, we have Detroit's left tackle, Taylor Decker, not practicing. Their center, Frank Ragnow, not practicing. Their right guard, Tommy Kramer, not practicing. And DeAndre Swift, not practicing. So, thing about the Lions going into the year, everyone was talking about where their strength would be. It is in the offensive line. I think it's very clear to me that they have a top 10 offensive line in the league. However, you start to pull people out of there or players are playing injured, that basically takes away the only strength of the team, in my opinion. They still have Jared Goff, who, again, produced in garbage time last week, didn't produce the rest of the way. They have a defense that can't stop a nosebleed. So I'm not a huge fan of Washington. This isn't a play on Washington. Carson Wentz will probably turn it over once or twice and, flip a ball behind his back or whatever the hell he wants to do. However, Detroit, to me, their only strength right now looks like it's going to be somewhat mitigated if they're missing at least one or two linemen. And honestly, completely different situation for the Lions now, where they're not the team that has to cover 6 at home. They now have to win the game and cover. It's very different. I don't see much separating these two teams. I actually think Washington's a slightly better team than Detroit. With the injuries on top of it, I'm fine to take the Commanders as an underdog here.
I like it. I'm going to stay away from this game. I thought the 48.5 was a lot of points for this game, though, Rob.
No, that game might go, like, to Pizzola's point. Detroit can't stop anybody. Detroit will score on Washington. Pat, this game might be a track meet, actually.
It did get bet up a lot. Like, this opened significantly lower. I think it might have touched 50 at one point as well,
Wow.
49.5. But just so everyone knows, the look ahead point total on this game was actually 45. So there has been quite an adjustment week to week. That's not to say the look ahead is right. You don't put too much stock into that, because not a lot of people are betting into that market. But we have seen an adjustment because I think particularly because of the Lions game, where it was just Philly going down the field every single drive. And then the Lions, when they get behind, they can score. They do this pretty regularly. So I think people have definitely adjusted to last week's games.
Yeah, I was trying to find a Leonard Fournette props for the week because I wanted to go over on all of them per runthesims.com. Like you mentioned, I ran the Sims, Cam. That is true. Runthesims.com/Mayo to get yourself a discount. You can get the weekly, the monthly, the yearly. Thanks for bringing it up. And you can customize your own projections and see what the best yardage totals versus their actual player props are. He's our favorite play in terms of projections on the slate, just with all the injuries that the Bucs have and probably how much he's going to do in the receiving game. But sportsbooks are afraid to put out Leonard Fournette props at the moment, so I cannot go with that. So I got to narrow it down to 2. You talked me off of Tampa Bay at 2.5. That leaves me Denver to cover all those points, which I think that they do, and Atlanta to not get absolutely shellacked by the Rams. And I did my test bubble with the Atlanta game because I figured Atlanta, it's almost good that they ended up losing last week coming through. They should have won that game. They didn't. But I feel like so many people would be on Atlanta in the points against the Rams. But once I talked to Jeff and I talked to Cuss Cam, they're like, Rams, bet them at like minus 500 if you could.
I'm gonna tell you guys, and sometimes we make good predictions. I don't know how you guys feel, but Stafford ain't right. I said this before. It's not all on him, but he makes really bad throws at bad times. You saw that. Like, Allen's interception was a tip ball. Matt Stafford, I have major concerns with. And know what I love too? Jalen Ramsey's squawk, squawk, squawk. He talks about Allen being trash. All the Bills did would attack him, and they murdered him. They absolutely made him look like shit. And the thing about the Rams is I think they're a regressing football team. Maybe they'll get a little bit better. You know what, Pat? They could murder Atlanta this week, but I don't. The Falcons are a real gritty team. It's a tough game. I'm not going to bet it, but yeah, it's a generous points. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I'll defend. So go ahead, Pat.
I was going to say, part of my reason for taking Atlanta last week is that everyone wrote off Mariota like he's absolute trash, and it turns out he's actually pretty good.
He's run.
Fine. Mariota's fine. Like, it's clear that he should have probably been a low-end starter in the league for many seasons now. He can do some stuff. He can get out of the pocket. He still make the killer mistake where in the red zone, he got inside the 10. He should have slid, tried to go head first, fumbled, whatever. That's Mariota. To me, I don't know about the Rams-Falcons game. I will say I'll defend Stafford a little bit here. I don't think any quarterback in the league would have moved the ball on Buffalo last week because the Bills did not blitz a single time. And they got pressure so regularly on the Rams O-line. You now have Stafford basically throwing into like double coverage, basically whoever he's throwing to or targeting. I have a feeling, this is just an opinion of mine, that we're going to see a lot of this phenomenon this year where, I would say if you blindly bet a team the week after they played Buffalo, you're going to have a really good against the spread record. Because I think Buffalo is going to make a lot of teams look way worse than they actually are. Perfect game plan on defense for the Bills last week. I don't know that the Falcons can replicate that. In terms of Denver, Houston, Denver's result is very misleading.
Yeah.
Like, Denver was just like 2 goal line fumble. Yeah. I do think Denver is going to eventually get back on track. This does seem like the opponent where they could potentially, like, Houston's result was also, I'm not suggesting they didn't deserve to cover, Cam. That's not what I'm talking about here. Like, they were up 20-3. Obviously, that was a wire-to-wire cover for Houston. But also that was a little bit misleading as well when you saw how many times the Colts got within the Houston 25-yard line and then completely shit the bed as well there. So my preference of those two would be Denver, but it is a big number to lay with a new offense, head coach that is pretty much brain dead, it seems, at least in Nathaniel Hackett. It's a tough one for me.
When coaches go for interviews, Cam, what do you think that the owners ask them about? Like, should it be a
Good question.
Like, do they ask them about football situations? They're like, oh, I like your vibe. You're hired.
The thing about Nate Hackett is, too, it wasn't just, and you guys are more percentage guys. What are the odds of kicking a 64-yard field goal on the road? If we break down the numbers, it was around 4%.
No, higher, way higher.
We saw the number. We saw the numbers in the thing. It was 4%.
If you gave me a 25-1 on will he hit that field goal, everyone in the world is making that bet. It's way higher than 4%.
Rob, but I'm saying the percentage is made. I agree with the bet, but I'm just saying with the kicks from that thing, looking at history, it's around 4 points.
History doesn't matter. They couldn't kick 5 years ago, these kickers couldn't kick a 50-yard field goal. They would come up short on these.
No, I agree.
The breed of kicker, he had the practice kick, which was like because Seattle tried to ice him and call a timeout. That was good from 70. He missed it wide. He missed the second one wide. But I'm telling you, they don't go for that kick unless they have a fairly good degree of confidence that he's going to make that kick. He was making them from 67 regularly in warmups. So nowadays, that's at least a 1 in 5.
Yeah, I was going to say 20% is probably there. However, to get the 4th and 5 is probably like 50-50 with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you paid Russell Wilson to get a 4th and 5 against Seattle. And his clock management was absolute dog shit.
Brutal.
Like, let's call it. We could have done better playing Madden. Nate Hackett, let's just call it out for what it is. The guy's a stooge. Okay, Rob, I saw your Twitter too. I agree with everything that you were saying. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Just because this guy has a football family, you're going to hire him? Anyway, we all make mistakes, and it's true. Imagine that kicker hits that kick. Oh, he's a genius. But I'm just saying his track record before that, not so good. Not so good.
I'm going with Russell Wilson in Denver -10. Like,
that's cool.
All they need are for 2 of the terrible breaks that they received last week to go their way, and they easily cover this number. And let's not Lovie Smith might not be a great coach either, Rob.
Yeah, like I love the beard. Lovie Smith seems like a very likable guy to me.
That's the thing. They play for him. He might not be the smartest guy there, but they'll play hard for him because they respect him.
Yeah, no, I think the playing hard in the NFL is a little bit overrated till maybe later in the year. Like, it's week 2 of the season. There's nobody that's mailing it in at this point.
I understand.
Right?
But you know what I mean, though, Rob? Like, when you like a coach, he's a guy that will motivate. He'll get the best out of these guys all the time.
I will say, though,
weeks off.
Sometimes you do need the coach that's going to lay the hammer down. You do need that guy every now and then. So you got to have a nice balance, right? Where the team gets along with the guy, but he's still – because – every now and then you get the guy that's he's buddy with everybody, and then they have 10 penalties for 120 yards every game.
You mean
and
Pete
it's
Carroll?
Yeah,
the glorified cheerleader.
Right. Hey man, Pete, 1-0. You can't argue with the 1-0 record. That tied for number 1 in the NFL.
Oh yeah, the best is I'm going to the game with Visine Vince Pizzola to meet Darsh, right? And I finish at 9, so we're listening to the game on the radio before we hit the bar. And Kevin Harlan's the best. And the voices are raining down in Seattle. Gino. He's like, what? I was like losing. I'm like, Geno Smith. Oh, hey, one thing about Geno Smith though, fellas, he covers numbers.
He does. He is a covering machine. He's the new Teddy Bridgewater. Remember, Teddy Bridgewater was the guy that was
actually. Teddy Bridgewater covers numbers. Him and Geno will have the same kind of vibe going on. Yep. They cover numbers as dogs all the time.
I think I might line up to bet San Francisco later on in the week. I think this Trey Lance sucks. This team sucks. People are riding high on the Seahawks. Like, that's Geno look good.
Line's gone down, Pat. Line's gone down too.
It's 8.5 now.
Yeah,
8.5. Geno looked good for a drive and a half, and then he was absolutely terrible the rest of the game.
Yes, second half was horrible. True.
I mean, a mutual friend of ours, Pat Spreadopedia, who you do the same game parlay with, actually is holding a Geno MVP ticket.
I saw that.
$100 to win
72,000. I know. I go, that guy's the best. I was like. Yeah.
All right, that will do it
balls.
For us on the best bets. You can find the cheat sheet up on DKNation.com. Reminder to smash the like button for the episode and sub to Mayo Media Network. If you want more of me and Rob and Cam, highly recommend you head on over to thehammer.bet, where we're going to have our survivor picks of the week. So check that out. But for us, we'll see you in week 3. Good luck. See you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.